conversation, public consumption.
Yeah, let's not promote Jacob on the live show.
No.
Hey, we're live. We're promoting Jacob. We're promoting Steve. We're promoting Dan. Welcome to the Banff Podcast. And before we get started, I'd just like to say that's our obligatory introduction.
I'm sorry. I was liking that.
That assures you, gentle viewer, that this is a high-quality, high-production podcast, artisanally handcrafted with love. This is no cheesy fly-by-night business here. No, sir. This is quality entertainment. And with us here today, RPG legend, Mr. Steve Kenson. How you doing, Steve?
Doing very well, Mike. Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. Directly above Steve, broadcasting from his man cave of glory, is Dan Hauser.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Good to see you, sir. And last but not least, my stalwart co-host, Jacob Blackman.
Always a pleasure.
And you should follow Jacob on Twitter at...
Please do.
At Jacob Blackman.
At Jacob Blackman. Because Jacob's a great artist, and he posts lots of cool art, and he has almost
M-O-N, by the way.
You're what?
Yeah, B-L-A-C-K-M-O-N.
Yeah.
Yes. Blackmon.
So we have got big Icons news.
It's big. It's pretty darn big.
Pretty damn cool.
Right?
And I would like to talk about it because I'm in love with the sound of my own voice, but it's a lot more interesting for our viewers if Steve would tell us what's going on for Icons. So, hey, Sean Vera, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Sean. Nice to see you.
Sean, hello.
So this is the offering on last month's Icons Patreon that I like to call Steve is out of ideas.
I very much doubt that. But honestly, I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner.
Oh man,
well,
this was the one. I think this was a back pocket kind of thing, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, honestly, the only reason
I have this lever I can pull.
Something like this didn't happen sooner is because I am a terrible self-promoter, and I am not want to bother people with my creative whims. So I simply didn't ask Green Ronin if I could do it up until fairly recently. At which point I was like, hey, could I maybe do a thing on my Patreon for Icons and use the Freedom City characters? And of course, Green Ronin was totally cool with it. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, why not?
Everyone there's amazing.
It could have happened 2 years ago if I had said something, but
Sean Vera is weighing in saying, Dan's art for the characters of Freedom League is simply amazing.
That was honestly the number one reason why
Sean.
I wanted to do this, was so that I could have Dan draw the Freedom League.
I was so intimidated by doing this. I was almost like, sure? And then there were redesigns, and I was like, are you really sure? But yeah, I think it came out really well. And it was such an honor to work on anything Freedom City related. In fact, Mike, you probably remember this from the Atomic Think Tank. My first piece of artwork I showed was like an homage to the Superman cover where Lois is holding Superman, and it was Lady Liberty holding Centurion when he died.
Mm-hmm.
It was so not great compared to now. But back then, it was one of my, I really worked hard on that one. I did a really fun picture when you guys came up with Game Master Fiat of Lady Liberty and Orion jumping out of a building, learning perspective. I did that to do that picture. So Freedom City and Mutants Mastermind has been a huge part of my gaming life. I was so honored to be asked, and I hope people liked it. I hope it came out good enough.
Yeah.
And Run Fraser says, go ahead. Sorry, Steve.
Well, I'd like to note that Dan did this terrific opening piece that you see here that starts off the article, which is an homage to the classic Avengers cover where they first where they run into the Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, and also rest in peace to my friend George Perez and his wife. Yeah. I wish her all the best. Indeed. It's a real loss.
George did an homage to this same cover on his run on Avengers, his last one.
Mm-hmm.
So
not to drag everybody down, but I just he was a good friend of mine and taught me a lot. So, best to Carol, best to the family. But yeah, it was amazing working on this. I really had a blast of a time working on it.
And before we get too far, we should probably mention that if folks want to pick this up, it's on the Patreon, right, Steve?
Yes, indeed. Folks can go over to patreon.com/Steve Kenson to check it out. It is this month's release, so anyone who is subscribing to the Patreon at the second or higher tier gets access to it. Folks at the higher tiers get access to more of the back issue bin of the Patreon's releases and a little bit more of the behind the scenes stuff that I do in my updates and whatnot.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but there at the bottom of the screen, I have Steve's Patreon
Hey,
URL
right there.
scrolling. You know why I'm doing that? Because this is a quality podcast.
That's right. Nothing but the
It's high
High
best.
quality artisanal podcast made with all fresh, natural ingredients and no GMOs that I know of.
GMOs. Ethically sourced podcast
Yes.
material.
Exactly. Free range artistry. Ask Jacob. He will not lie about that, to my
Fair,
knowledge.
it's a fair trade podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
It is.
So anyway, sorry, enough of my dumb jokes. But Steve Kenson, patreon.com/.
After all our union busting, you got to promote it a little. I mean, all of our negotiations with people who work around the world, to my knowledge.
Let's talk about the book.
This is why I love hanging out with all these people.
Yeah. Farm to Table podcast, says Jeff
Yes.
DeBreeze. Hey,
That
Jeff.
is absolutely
Yes.
right. Farm to
Yeah,
table.
I was at a farm earlier today, actually. And Ron Fraser
I've
says
seen a
something interesting to me. Ron, it is good to see you, sir. I missed you in the comments.
Yes, Ron. Hello.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start scrolling through the PDF. And, hang on. Walt Rebellion might be joining us. Oh, Walt's still out of the house doing stuff with his dogs. So he might be coming in
All
later.
right.
So let's scroll down and take a look at this book because this is all kinds of Captain Thunder.
Yeah.
And this
This is
awesome
the original Freedom League from the first edition of Freedom City, basically, as they were then, with a few minor adjustments.
Yeah, I was curious how you were going to go about this. Were you going to go with all the modern Freedom City elements, or were you going to go with the classic ones? So, yeah, no.
Well,
here,
as I mentioned on the Patreon, what part of what inspired this was we're working. We just released the Sentinels of Earth Prime card game that Green Ronin did under license with Greater Than Games, and that game used the original Freedom League as the primary characters from the second edition of Freedom City, basically. And so it going over all the promotional stuff for the game and all the other stuff behind the scenes got me thinking a lot about that particular era of the Freedom League and the like, and all the stuff we did for that. And I was like, it'd be really cool if I could do a classic Freedom League thing for icons.
Yeah, I remember that game. Jacob and I actually unboxed that here on the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really nice looking game. If I say
gorgeous work on that.
So cool. So there's Daedalus.
I liken Sentinels a lot to Icons in that I've watched the art progress in Sentinels from what was really good to now it's just amazing. Like everything about it is I've watched these guys grow as like developers and it's amazing stuff. I really do like it. I even played the Switch game a lot, Sentinels Switch game. So that's one of my favorites actually. They made it to a turn-based role-playing game. It's so fun.
The iPhone version of Sentinels has gotten me through many a Zoom meeting. But let's talk about this book, which is awesome. And Dr. Metropolis is my favorite character on the Freedom League. And here he is drawn in glorious Dan Houser style.
I will note that we probably can't call it a book.
Okay.
because it's only like 14 pages.
Shall
it's
we
a
call
template
it
intended to be propaganda for Steve Kenson's Patreon.
It is a long article.
I mean,
so I
don't.
The
character sheets alone would be worth a supplement. Supplement.
Yeah.
Like a Flintstones.
It's more than a leaflet.
Yes.
Yes.
Generally speaking, the Patreon does about 10 pages of content a month. This is a particularly long article this month, just because I wanted to. I looked at whether or not I wanted to break it up into 2 shorter articles, and it was just kind of dumb to do that. So I was like, everybody just gets more pages this month, and we do a longer piece. But yeah, generally it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 pages of content a month on the Patreon. And then last year, I took all of the Patreon content for the year and put it together in an actual book, and we put out Icons Annual 1. If everything goes to plan, according to plan this year, I will do the same thing at the end of this year and take all of this year's Patreon content, and we'll do Icons Annual 2 at the beginning of next year.
Sweet.
And Annual 1, I'll have at my tables at RockCon this year in Rockford, Illinois, and at Gamehole Con in Madison. And then next year at Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. So if you want to pick them up before ordering them or whatever, you can, and I'll sign them and draw stuff.
I love Dance Johnny Rocket.
I love Johnny Rocket as a character because I love Speedsters. And I think someone mentioned the Lanterns deck. I love the Speedster deck in Sentinels. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Because I love Speedsters top to bottom. That's just what I love.
I would have to agree. So, Steve.
Yeah.
I would not be incorrect if I pointed out that there are many, many teams and groups that exist inside the Freedomverse.
It's true.
And we have seen the Premier League team converted to Icons. Perhaps in the future, would we see more?
I wouldn't rule the possibility out. I don't have any immediate plans right now. Like I said, I'm not the type that wants to feel like I'm imposing. And so, I created the Freedom City stuff, but Green Ronin owns it. It's their product. They paid me fair and square for it. So I don't presume that I have the, right to do whatever I want with it. And so it would definitely involve talking to them about whether or not additional sorts of adaptations like this would be, okay by them. And can we also say that I love Dan's redesign of Lady Liberty's costume in this, and his redesign of Siren, which you'll see.
Okay, let's keep scrolling.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, Lady Liberty here looks magnificent.
Yeah, right?
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, just the notes were really good, and I heard what you were saying about how the original design kind of locks her into a time period. Like it does say, early to mid 2000s, and it's really a great design. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and all of the designs were, in my mind, how they looked. So it was kind of hard to make me go, okay, wipe it out. Let's do something different.
I was super lucky that the original Freedom League and a lot of the stuff in the original Freedom City book got done by Ramon Perez, who's an amazing artist.
So great. Yeah, he's so great.
And like him and Sean Isaacs and a number of other artists who we were really lucky to work with.
Shout out to D-Mac.
Before they got justifiably famous and, obviously left the gaming industry because that's not where their money is.
What the hell you say, sir?
I know, right? Hard to imagine.
I'm in this game for the dollar.
But they're bona fide like DC and Marvel artists now, and
Yeah, Sean
Although,
Isaac.
I mean, that may change soon. It seems like everyone's getting into like doing role playing game stuff online, so it's kind of nice.
I hear they're even making a D&D movie. I think once that happens,
Yeah.
They did that already perfectly. Riff Raff was in it. One of the Wayans, right?
Yeah.
There's so many Wayans. I just lost track of them. I can't keep.
They cast a whole person in that movie.
The whole Wayans collective is just beyond my comprehension. But hey, let's keep looking at this book, this pamphlet.
Okay.
And oh my god,
I love this picture.
Yeah,
because I love Raven, and I love everything about the Raven and the new Raven. I was kind of unhappy I couldn't draw the Bowman this time.
Maybe.
I do love the Bowman as well. A friend of mine became the Bowman for our gaming group. He was like, I want that character.
The Bowman Brigade is a strong force within M&M fandom. So I would not be surprised if they demand an Icons version of Bowman at some point.
Hey, Roberto, thanks for chiming in, sir.
Thank you. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, I would love to see Next Gen, the Claremont Academy in general.
Oh man, I would love just to do a supplement of a Claremont Academy style book. That'd be great.
Yeah, anything Hero High.
Yeah,
Hero
And
High
Atom
is
Family.
Hero High and Cosmic, the Cosmic book are two of my favorite supplements for Mutants Masterminds.
Yep, Hero High is probably the most popular genre book we ever did for M&M.
And here is the aforementioned Hauser redesign of Siren.
Yeah, I love what Dan's done with this.
Kind of reminds me of that DC character. Boy, I feel bad saying Gypsy on the air, but that is her name.
Right.
But yeah, nice work on that, Dan. Looks good.
Yeah. But I mean, oh yes, Jeff. Yes.
Megastar for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name? The one who's kind of like Black Adam, the space villain.
You're talking about Black Star?
Black Star, one of my favorite villains. I do like Black Star, but yeah, Siren. What I thought
Sean Vera mentions he had Ramon Perez do a picture of Centurion and Omega at a con years ago.
Very cool.
Oh, sweet! Cool. You got to put that on Twitter, Sean, or on Facebook. I want to see that.
Yeah, Dan, I think we all do.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Dan, I interrupted you. Sorry. Please go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I just thought the remit was to like desexualize Siren. I mean, yes, she's in a bathing suit. Yes, she's underwater and she's a queen. But I was like, would Mira wear that? Probably not. Would like a Loa of like the Jamaican pantheon wear something like that? Maybe. So then I wanted to do a modern thing, and I just figured this is what I think monarchy would wear, not necessarily shoes or anything. I even tried to come up with something that was like swim fins, but they didn't come out right.
Yeah, I like where we landed.
Yeah, it was a really good direction as well. And anything new Freedom City stuff, or even old Freedom City stuff adapted to icons.
Right.
Oh, it's just fantastic. I'm like so happy.
So just for fun, at the end,
Commander Crab. I can't believe you added Commander Crab.
Well, there's two bits at the end. Obviously, we talk a little bit about their headquarters in the background and some adventure ideas and whatnot. But for bonus use, you've got the outline of the Tyranny Syndicate. If you want to do the evil versions of the Freedom League from another parallel Earth and just use them all as villains in your Icons game. And we took a little like what if look at the end of if the Freedom League existed in the same world as all of our villains from Icons. Who would their primary bad guys be, and who would they fight, and who would be some of the characters they would have rivalries with, and all of that sort of thing. And of course, Commander Crab has got to be a Siren villain. You know that she's run up against him and Sea Hag,
my favorite concepts to draw.
the various other aquatic bad guys at some point. Sea Devil, probably.
I sort of want to see a Dr. Metropolis Swaharo team up.
Right, that would be fun.
That'd be a great buddy cop movie, I think.
No.
I want to team up Dr. Metropolis with Bonanza, the guy who really doesn't have any powers per se, but he really likes fighting crime. He's really enthusiastic. Or Atomic Roach, since he's a city hero.
Yeah, right. I could definitely see that.
I think it's time for Spider Fridge to make his glorious return.
And it's a her, by the way. Spider Fridge is a lady.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I shouldn't forget this, but somehow I do.
Right. I can see it now in Freedom Hall where, Johnny's like, has that fridge always been here?
It's like Control.
Daedalus, did you put a new fridge in the kitchen?
No. No.
So, Steve, how can I manipulate you to do more Freedom City conversions of Icons? Because I think this is a great idea and everyone loves it, but I don't know.
I think you go to the address that is being scrolled along the bottom.
Yep.
Give Steve money and say, "Hey, Steve, will you do more of this?"
And then I'll very nicely ask Green Ronin.
Oh my goodness! Like I just remembered, I did work for Green Ronin on Freedom's on Mutants Masterminds. Like I wish I would have been able. Wait, I did. I did design a character, and I did a threat report for them. I forget which one, but I remember now that I did.
Was it the DC book? Because there was a cast of thousands working on that.
No, the DC book used a lot of
No, we used DC's art for the DC book.
As I recall, like both the Marvel and DC books, they're pretty serious since after the 80s, they don't use like bullpen artists from the companies. They just use clip art basically.
Yep.
But there's so much of it, you know.
But yeah, I mean, when the part of the licensing deal is you can have access to our entire art archive.
Right.
You know?
I think Jeff told me that story. Jeff Butler. I've become kind of friends with him because he comes to Green Gamehole Con every year here in Madison, and we sit down and we talk old school TSR Marvel phase rip.
Yeah.
A lot more than he probably wants to.
Yeah.
But he was the best part was just going in. He goes, I get to see the archives. I got to see an Amazing Fantasy 15 pristine, like it was like sitting out like the Declaration of Independence, only it was still in good shape. I was like, oh man.
Jeff was one of the last game industry artists who really got to do much like licensed comic book work. And
he's one of my top tier like influences as well. I just love the way that he realistically draws superheroes. He takes them serious, and you can tell that he does. But that their license let them go right through Marvel, and in New York they got invited up, and they all just wandered through the archives, flipping through books and seeing just things that are incredible. So, but no, I got to work on Mutants Masterminds for a threat report. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I do remember having fun doing it though.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's always fun working with folks at Green Ronin.
Yeah,
everyone there is professional and super enthusiastic.
Yes,
you know.
And thanks, Indigo Dragon. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The Patreon has been really great in terms of making sure there's more Icons content coming along.
It's fun. Wow, Sean Ver just posted his Ramon Perez artwork. I need to go find his Twitter real fast.
I know, me too.
Right? So. Pardon us while we rush to Twitter. We'll be right back.
Exactly.
Whoever gets it first, let me know and share it out. Okay. This is the kind of exciting content that you turn into the BAMF podcast for.
That's right.
I'm frantically Googling. Sweet, guys. You know what? There's going to be a new Batman movie, I think.
But I will say one of the nice things about the Icons Patreon is it lets me do a bunch of really just totally random short things that I wouldn't have otherwise done, because I've got a big list of random Icons articles that don't necessarily make up an entire book, but are good fodder for doing stuff for the Patreon from month to month.
I would call it a gazetteer.
Yes,
right.
It's a potpourri of of Icons.
A Chautauqua Art Festival.
Yes. Artisanal and locally sourced Icons.
Exactly.
Content.
It's a Chautauqua Art Festival with a lot less macrame and more illustrations of superheroes.
Right. Pretty much.
All right. I found it.
Oh, good.
I misspelled Sean's name at first.
I did send Mike a piece of just real preliminary stuff for this month's.
That's
a nice.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Oh, Centurion, your hair, buddy.
Yeah, right.
COVID hair.
He's got the Roman haircut. It's kind of on point for him.
Or a really small bowl.
Yeah, but man,
I
love Ramon Perez's Omega.
Yeah, that Omega is so good.
With a nice curvy crackle there.
Right.
Yes, but the skull.
Oh yeah.
He looks just mad all the time.
Yep.
You can draw a skull that looks mad and not just like Skeletor.
Yeah, unfortunately, anytime I see a villain with a skull for a head, the first thing I think is Skeletor.
Because they do it anatomically correct, and his has a furrowed like skull brow. It's like, how did that happen? He was just born angry. I don't know.
Omega is actually inspired by whatever the ghost was on Scooby-Doo. There was a skeleton in a spacesuit.
Yep. So you're not getting much out of this.
Scared the crap out of me as a kid.
But Steve's seen what the total image is going to be.
Yeah, this is for next month.
Yep, and I won't go into what it's about or anything. No spoilers, but I will say that Creeper's in it. He's one of my favorite villains. And why do you have a Ultimate Warrior comic book?
I was doing a wrestling focused podcast a few months back, and we're talking about the worst.
What are you talking?
Yeah,
wait,
sorry.
What betrayal?
Sorry,
I was at Chicago when CM Punk came back to wrestling, dude. This podcast is over.
We were talking about the worst wrestling comics ever, and so obviously Ultimate Warrior comes up because.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about this icons art that you have that we are showing right here on the show.
Yeah. This is a battle between Creeper and some of the newer hero characters that I've drawn in the backgrounds of some of the other Patreon stuff. I wanted to include characters that I kind of put in the background, didn't really explain them. So there's that. And it's also kind of a sneaky way for people to see something that I'm going to be releasing soon, which is the first issue of Eddie Van Helsing, Monster Killer, which should be good. I'm going to try and do it as part of my Patreon and just release it, there first until I get the whole issue done, and I'll print it out and maybe have it for, conventions and stuff. But I've got inks done. I'm coloring it now as well because I've been kind of like focusing more on Icon's work. And then I haven't had a lot of like huge commissions come my way. And so I've been kind of just avoiding it when it comes up. Like, oh, wait, I'll have to check my timeline and I'll get back to like, oh, I'm kind of busy with this thing. Well, this is the thing I've been busy with since about December, other than working on losing weight, which I've lost about 60 pounds now.
So do we need to remind folks that Dan also has a Patreon that folks should be checking out if they are fans of his art?
I think we should.
I owe everyone so much stuff over on Patreon, though, because of this project. But if you join Patreon, there's a bunch of different levels. And if you're a creator and you're just starting out in tabletop role playing, I also offer a pretty good deal for new creators. If they want to get their project done by me, check out the tiers and everything. And that's the final big tier. And I only do one of those. And then when your project's done, you can't do it again. But if you're new and you're looking for somebody to help you out, I'll be happy to. But yeah, it's Dan Hauser, I believe.
Dan Hauser, illustrator.
Yep. There we go. That's the one. Well, thank you so much. But yeah. So yeah, it's going to feature the Creeper and some really cool new thing. It's a power stunt that he's going to do. And I think you guys will really enjoy it when you see it. And that'll be in about 10 days.
Yeah.
Not for you though, Steve. You'll see it this weekend.
Thank you.
Well, that's not fair, but okay.
Oh, don't worry, Mike. I'll show you.
Okay.
But you're sworn to secrecy. Oh, thanks. Hey, yeah, no, I'm just fasting. Honestly, not and occasionally doing yoga and stuff. But
yeah.
This has been kind of freaky, seeing my chin come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of people have had real success with intermittent fasting.
Yep, 3 times a week, and it's still really not that kind of fasting because you get like 1,000 calories a day or something, which is a big salad and a bowl of oatmeal, which is probably what I should have been eating all along, I guess. But I like the not caring about what I'm eating on days when I'm not.
Age where we have to be watching what we eat now. Can't go
the days when I don't, my doctor's like, "Go crazy, eat all you want." Stupid doctor. Yeah, because all you'll want is a meal, probably, maybe 2, and it won't be big. Trust me on that. But yeah, I will say that the illustration life is going really well. I've got a lot more confidence in what I'm doing because Steve has me working every month, and working on my own projects. I'm like, no, I can definitely do this. I always start out going, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. And then I go, no, I just did it. I have a whole book on my shelf. I could do it. Yep. And if you're thinking you can't out there, just start doing it. You'll be able to do it later, even if you can't do it now. But you can do it.
For folks, it was always my dream to be a brain surgeon. And they told me
you can do it
because they
not on yourself, but you can do it.
Yeah. I just checked out an ad on Craigslist and just I followed my passion. I got a hacksaw in the garage, and it's been a good. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, a couple knives, melon baller. I mean, the Egyptians did it with just a scalpel and a hook tool.
Right. That's just for pulling them out, though.
That's still
It has
surgery.
been great talking to you
True.
guys. I always love the Icons Creative Team on.
We're all on a list now for this talk. I apologize.
Oh, my Google search history got me on a list a long time ago.
All right. So Steve's Patreon, Dan's Patreon. Holy shit, there is an Icons conversion of the Freedom League. You guys can sort of go to Steve's Patreon and check it out right now, and then badger Steve until he does more Freedom First conversions for us for Icons. We'll organize in the Facebook group and make it happen. So,
Awesome.
I didn't know it was an option, but yeah, that badgering begins soon.
Okay. Steve and Dan, always a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
Yes, always love to be here.
Jacob, thank you for co-hosting, sir. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask before I wrap things up?
Not that I can think of after all those stories.
All right, here's the closing music. All right, and thanks to everybody for checking us out in the comments. Yes, Mike. Hit me up in the DMs, Jason. We can hook something up for you there, buddy. Trip panning as you wait. All right, thanks, folks. Catch you next time on the
Panning.
podcast.